WEcast, supporting women entrepreneurs in Southern Alberta, with your host, Jenny Bourne.
Welcome to WEcast, recorded on Treaty 7 lands, home of the Blackfoot people of the Canadian Plains and the Métis Nation Region 3. We are excited to bring you the first WEcast episode of 2022, produced by WeSTEM, the Women Entrepreneurs in STEM program, here to support all women entrepreneurs in rural regions of Southern Alberta. WeSTEM is made possible thanks in part to funding from the Government of Canada's Women Entrepreneurship Strategy through Economic Development Lethbridge. The WeCast podcast is here to amplify the voices and tell the stories of self-identified women entrepreneurs and those who support them across the rural regions of Southern Alberta. Please join us in conversation with women business owners from Southern Alberta as we build community in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. My name is Jenny Bourne, and I am the Senior Program Coordinator for the WeSTEM program and the host of WeCast. Alyssa Borix, our technical producer and WeSTEM's event coordinator, is also here with us. On today's episode, we are excited to welcome Stella Sehn, co-founder and owner of Sweet Pure Honey in Porcupine Plain, Saskatchewan. Stella Sehn is a super mom of 3, and she started the 100% family-owned and operated bee farm, Sweet Pure Honey Bee Farm, from scratch with her husband and partner, Sheldon, in, I believe, 2016. Together, they make Canadian, handcrafted, handmade, organic, #1 raw white honey, beeswax candles, and lip balms using the abundance of healthy crops and wildflowers which surround their prairie farm. It is important to Stella to have her children see that it's possible to run a business with values, such as respect for employees and the environment, that provides customers with really special products and also sustains their family. Stella and Sweet Pure Honey were the winners of the 2016 Chamber of Commerce Business Ethics Award, presented by the Better Business Bureau. Stella is also an international exporter, distributes honey nationally, is an innovator and social entrepreneur. You can also learn more about Stella and Sweet Pure Honey on Food Power TV, where they were recently featured. Stella, welcome to WeCast and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Jenny. Healthy New Year is what I'm saying.
I like it. It's a little frosty, but healthy. I'm feeling good. Stella, I know you, and I know that my introduction doesn't capture a fraction of who you are.
There, Jenny. A fair bit in there.
Thank you. I was trying to pull together everything I know about you, but
I always feel obnoxious when you're like, oh, this is what I did. This is what I said. This is what I did, because I'm starting to value people where they are. I recognize we're women in business here, so that's why we have to. But that's why I don't have one. I'm like, why don't you write about what you think or what? So thank you, Jenny. That was beautiful.
No, well, you should toot your own horn, because you have a lot to celebrate, and you have a lot to offer to other women who are looking to be starting business and in agri-food business and everything. You're great, which is why we invited you here today. So thank you so much. Are there any gaps? Are there things that I've missed? Because I know you've been really busy recently. So is there anything that we should add that I missed in that introduction?
I think the biggest, area that I'm focusing on for 2022. I know everyone has a plan or a goal. So last year I started questioning, because if you Google us or my name, of course, this business ethics comes up. And I've really been asking myself, as I delve into the truth and reconciliation calls to action for business, I started questioning, am I truly an ethical business if I am not honoring the calls to action from our government? And when we filmed Food Power, which we'll talk more about that process, it really came to the forefront for myself, where I had to really question. I was so proud of that award being awarded from the Better Business Bureau. And as a farmer, and because this was an idea my husband and I had, I felt such pride in that being Business Ethics Award. But are you truly an ethical business if you are not honoring the calls to action presented by our government to honor residential school survivors? And this just, I couldn't get past that. So moving forward, I would say I am proud to say that we are now an ethical business and we are moving forward, and our business is hoping to be a leader in showing other businesses how, in their own way, you can honor the calls to action for business.
Can I ask what changes you've made? Because I've looked through the calls to action myself, specifically for business, because we are supporting businesses. And I was surprised that there wasn't a long list of recommendations that are specific to business. So what kind of changes did you decide to make, or are you working towards?
So I think, to start with, every Canadian citizen, this is all of our responsibilities, whether you are a business or not. So I would say, as a business person, the truth is, start with number one. This is a Canadian citizen responsibility. So within that, there are recommendations. I believe they start at number 90. Actually, I don't know which number they start at, but you're right. There are very few for businesses, but I want to focus on, you should start with number one. So that's where I started, how, as of course, we're farmers. So from a land perspective, how we can honor and give back from our business, and we profit off the land and with our bees and with our honey. So that's where I started personally. And also, as a woman of color, I'm Black. I'm married to Sheldon Hill. He's white, and we have 3 biracial children. So also, this is a very personal experience because I have experienced racism my whole life. So for me, this is just another area that I can use what I've, I guess, achieved or accumulated to make change, and to use the power that I have as a public person and as a business to inspire other people, other folks, wherever they are, to use the power and the influence they have to help make any person of color, their life better and easier. So the first thing that was important to me, I work an off-farm job. We've experienced several, like 4 to 5 years of below average crops, below average pricing. So I was forced to get an off-farm job. I work in a prison here in Medicine Hat, Alberta. And so for myself, I've always identified with underprivileged and with people who are struggling. So the first thing for myself is always, how can I help and make immediate change where I am? So we've always given back to the community that supports us. And it looks like, when you know somebody is experiencing hardship, dropping off a care package. As a business person and someone who creates products, this year I chose, instead of making a monetary donation to a food bank or a shelter, I chose to support Indigenous activists. So I just bought a bunch of express post envelopes and filled them full of products and sent them directly to them and said, this is to nourish your body. This is to say, I see you and I hear you and I want to support you, and you're loved and have value and meaning. So that was the first place. And then my husband and I were talking and we're like, let's create a box. We're in the midst of trying to save our own bee farm right now. And with that, how do you accept help? How do you accept generosity from people and not continue to give that back to others? So we created a honey display box, and literally this is to help save our bee farm. And 10% of the sales go directly to support Indigenous people and communities where they are. So to give you an example, we had a successful run in December. We had several businesses that came on board, took these boxes, Save a Bee Farm. And because of that, I now am able to take that profit. We're donating 10% back. Our first recipient is Ina Old Shoes Fairbanks. I actually met her at a pool. We started talking. She's in the college paramedic program. She wants to be the first female paramedic on her reserve, the Blood Tribe Reserve, Ghana Nation she is from. And she has her own business, Something Wonderful Studios, and she's an animated artist, and she needs a banner to go to shows and to sell her work. And I said, well, why don't I donate the money so you can buy this banner and you can move forward? And this back and forth talking and just being inspired by her, I had lost that. I had lost that excitement over entrepreneurship. It's been very difficult for myself and for our business. So how are you excited about someone starting a small business when you're struggling? But what I realized is it's the story behind the business. And the fact that she was excited, it reminded me of my first passion, why I got involved. And when you guys invited me to be on the panel, listening to all these women talk about the beginning, you are so blinded by your love and your passion, you don't even care about the obstacles. So to get that vibe, that feeling back, I realized for myself, I can get lost in other people's passion. Even if you don't feel it, you get absorbed by listening to other people's passion and you can help them. So we struck up a conversation going back and forth, and I'm going to write a blog and talk about her and her story, but I wanted to have a real example of how businesses can use their power and their influence. And it's not a lot of money. 10% of sales is not a lot of money, but it's the fact that it's something, it's a start. And if every business started with something, how can I help? How can I help honor the calls to action? How can I help Indigenous people, people of color, where I am? This ripple effect will create a tidal wave.
I have nothing to say. I can't agree more. That is great. And there's a lot of talk, and there've been a lot of talk for years about the calls to action, right? But there's been a lot of
15.
I know. So there we go. We're in going into year 7, a lot of talk, and we can very easily find the proof that there's not a lot of action, right? So it's so amazing to talk to someone who's actually taking action and making
I am here, Jenny, because I did go to my Chamber of Commerce. I have asked these questions of my business colleagues, and there has been silence. So the one thing that I want to say, and I rarely endorse people or products. I only do it if I believe it. From the moment that you contacted me, from the moment that I have had contact with women entrepreneurs with STEM, every single person on your team has reached out to me and asked me, how can I help you where you are, including different programs and trying to get money and not understanding applications. And every person on your team has gone above and beyond. And I say that because I've been doing this for 20 years. If there's something I don't understand, you have all just tried to help me in a way that filled me with inspiration and hope. And if I can do that for another woman, that's why I'm here. You guys meet everyone where they are. And thank you for that.
Thank you, Stella. We're here to celebrate you today. And thank you for the endorsement. I really appreciate it.
Platform because you decided to give it to me. And that's what women in business and women in power have to do. They have to silence their own voices to amplify others who don't have the power or the followers or sometimes the skills or ability. You have to help them. You have to give them the answers. You have to write the questions out. You have to show a way to make this so they can comprehend it. And I know this now because I'm listening to what people are telling me, what I've done for them, how I've inspired them, how I've empowered them. You know instantly if this is someone's first time. Help them. Show them the way. Show them how to get there.
In the last few years of our developing and running the WeSTEM program. As you know, that's our focus, right? We want to build community and we want to build a support system for each other. And yes, thank you. Because as you say, you coming to our panel during our Inspire 2021 conference, people felt comfortable to reach out to you and after that was over, right? And to still be connected. And I know other panelists had the same experience. And it does feel amazing to know that we're achieving some of our goals, right? And that's great. And I'm so happy that you can be part of it. So thank you. But I'm wondering,
one more point I want to say is I only agreed to be on the panel after I was reassured that there would be other women of color. I was lucky enough to be on the AB Polly podcast. And I said, after my last talk, I will never be on a panel again unless there is someone who looks like me. And the representation when you are, because everything's on Zoom now, the representation when you're looking at a screen and you see another face that looks like you instantly are relaxed and at ease. So that is something, that is why I'm here, is because you said, yeah, of course. And not only that, but there were several people that different gender, different backgrounds, and just the ease of which when you are not the only one coming from a different perspective. And it just matters. It really does matter, including if you have to give up your own seat to see someone else amplified. And I think moving forward, that's something that we really have to talk about, is giving up your seat, giving up your power, giving up your voice to let someone else speak and shine.
Yes. And for a long time in business and in Alberta and in rural Alberta, everyone has looked the same, I think, and have the people with the loudest voices have looked the same and sounded the same.
More money to advertise.
Yeah.
More money to advertise and be polished and present what someone's looking for. And that's the thing. That's how you can use your expertise. You still are going to get the accolades for discovering this person or giving up your seat, but now you're actually behind real change and you're pushing forward in growth. What is this power for if it's not to raise up everyone around you? And a perfect example of this is you listened to me. I got to get on your panel. After people seeing and hearing what I had to say, they then reached out to me. I have done other podcasts because of your panel, Shauna Ray, reaching out to me, asking me, how can I help you? How can I amplify your voice? So just a simple question of women talking honestly, being vulnerable and asking, it's okay if you don't know. Ask, be uncomfortable. You have to have this uncomfortable moment and just ask someone. They will tell you. They will tell you what you need to do.
You give a lot. Are you getting back?
I have actually, I don't feel this is giving right now because I'm used to having to do events and doing things. Now I say no. And for me, this is going to be 2 hours out of our day. I don't feel that I'm giving, but I recognize now, I've experienced racism since I was very young. I've dealt with skinheads in New Brunswick. I've been physically attacked. I no longer have to give my energy for a certain voice. It's time for allies to step up. So I only work with people who amplify my voice because I'm resting. The second half of my life will involve peace. That's where I'm at. I'm going to be 48 years old. I will no longer fight. I will no longer experience anguish and pain. I physically must honor my being and myself, but I will work with other allies who are willing to amplify my voice and who want me to just tell my story and inspire. So for me, I'm healing through this process. This is something that I can do easily because this is just honestly who I am. So thank you. Really, it is the people who are organizing this, moving it forward, pushing it forward. I know what's involved to get people who are controversial on your panels and to get things approved. I thank you and I applaud you. And I think that what people will see is that right now, everyone is scrambling for authentic content. Go to the people who have been saying this since the beginning. They are out there, and it's going to take a little time and research and yourself putting your own being at being uncomfortable. But the end reward is going to be you are amplifying voices that are moving forward. This is not going away. We all have a part to push forward voices that have not been heard. And you can either help that or you can hinder it. And I think that's the thing about the power of truth and love, is that we can all do what we can where we are, even if it's just a like, even if it's a share, even if it's just being honest, it will move forward.
Hallelujah. Conversation over. We can go now. Yeah, exactly. I think safe spaces, the creation of those safe spaces, because we talk about this in life and society in general, but especially when we're coming to entrepreneurship and building your business and knowing that you can go to people for advice and your perspective will be heard, or the way you look should not be an issue, or creating those safe spaces are so important for success and mental health, as well as the health of the business.
Especially, even if it's just dreaming out loud. So Ina said to me, so this is the gal who's going to be the first recipient of our money to honor calls to action from business. Mm-hmm. We recently went to Vancouver, so this was last month, and did the premiere of this Food Power episode. And she said to me, just seeing you go to Vancouver, that you were on a show, I had never thought that was possible for a small business. I just hadn't seen it. I didn't think it was possible, but now I see you doing that. So I recognize, as a small business owner, this is a possibility. So Matthew Astorga, he is the brains behind Food Power. I met him at a food show in Okanagan. It was the Okanagan Eats show. He was in a car accident and was just rehabilitating and learning how to speak and talk. And we met at this food show. He was doing a demonstration and we instantly connected. And we kept friends and talked back and forth. And he cold called me out of the blue and said, hey, can I come with the film crew and film you? And keep in mind, this is during harvest, which if you know farmers. So I'm like, let me talk to my husband and see what he thinks. And we were a mess, right? Like trying to save our bee farm in the middle of harvest. But we knew it was a unique opportunity that we couldn't pass up for somebody to tell our story where we are. Mm-hmm. And as a woman in business who has paid professional photographers and paid videographers, it's very expensive. The first part of our business was all generosity. We had graphic designers and photographers who literally helped us for exchange of product. And fast forward, he comes to our farm, we film this, but I realize him believing in me, our connection, and this was from 4 years ago, inspired us to believe in ourselves. Now this is filmed and other people are watching this and it's inspiring them to believe. When you are experiencing pain, when you're down and out, when your business isn't doing well, you do feel isolated. That's the thing about being a small business or being the face of your business. You don't have a team to rally you. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's so important about social media and following other businesses that are small businesses or only have a few employees. If they can do it, if they can give you 1 ounce of hope to hang in there and to believe, it does keep your brain believing that maybe this is possible for me. Maybe in time I'll be in a different place. And I can say this now because we are in a different place, but it starts with actually believing that you can move forward and believing that people care and are listening to you and what you have to say.
Can I ask, why did you start the bee farm and the business? Like, because it was 2016, right? So it's still, it wasn't 20 years ago.
It was to pull our family out of poverty.
Okay.
It literally was after having 3 small children. We had 3 babies under the age of 4, struggling financially. It was to give them a better life than we were currently experiencing. And that's the thing. Our whole business was based off of pure, genuine intentions to just live a better life. And I'm not talking luxury, I'm talking healthy food, medication, sports, extracurricular. And the basis of our business has always been rooted in real, genuine, just prosperity and healthy living. And I now know that that is a right every human being should have. You shouldn't have to fight to provide for your children. You shouldn't have to fight to get mental health where you are that's culturally sensitive and appropriate and acknowledges the life you're living. I'm strong. I'm powerful. I've had to fight to be me my whole life. If I can help one other person not have to struggle or fight to move forward and just be healthy, why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't you do that with the power you have?
That's great. So it was a good decision then to start the business.
It was the only decision. We had to make more money to provide for our family. There was no other option. And it's what's still driving us. People see you on social media and they see what you accomplished and they think you're made. Trust me, if I was made, you'd know. We didn't have business colleagues rally for us. The past 2 years, we haven't had press or media saying support them, support bee farmers. Our own government didn't even support us. So Alberta supported beekeepers through the drought last year, gave them money to help with the extra feed. So there was a drought for anyone listening in Alberta and Saskatchewan. So we had to provide pollen patties and drive water out. And it was terrible. It was terrible. And our own government excluded Agriculture of Canada or Saskatchewan excluded beekeepers in the drought fund. And so this is the thing. I don't know why, as farmers, we are left out. The food and beverage industry, it's all about restaurants and bars, which, yes, I understand that. But the truth is, we have an honorable profession. All we want to do is provide good, clean food to Canadian citizens. And I deserve that platform as well. We have been fighting for the last 5 years to save our bee farm. The only reason we are still in business is because our clients have bought directly from us from our website. So we have cash flow coming in that we can then use for input costs and to keep our business running.
So how do you build that customer base?
I did shows for 15 years, talking to people, listening to them, providing value. We do not spend money on advertising. We give free product to the people who invest in our company. This is the way business used to be done. This is the way it was done. You would go to the butcher and he would give you bones. You would go to your seed supplier. Like, this is a back and forth transaction. If I succeed, you succeed. And that's the thing that's missing in business now. This is a partnership. We are in this together. So how can we work together? And you are seeing more people starting to collaborate and recognize that network, especially with social media. My clients are your clients. Let's work together to move forward, but also still recognizing people who are struggling and use that platform to give a voice to people who don't have it.
So now that, for the last couple of years, obviously the food shows haven't been happening. So are you relying on your former customer base, or are you relying more on social media to reach out to new customers?
It is definitely our clients who have always supported us. So just to give you an example, the last 2 years that we were struggling, we donated a lot to our community organizations, tournaments. Everyone contacted us for free product. And when I mean, I'm talking thousands of dollars in free product. When We were experiencing difficulty, certainly with this drought. Every ounce of honey is liquid gold. And I just had to say, I can't afford to give you this product for free. I can't. I need to sell it to at least get cost or value. And I had some clients who were like, okay, no problem. Of course, I want to support you. You've always supported me. And other clients who said no. So honestly, what I realized, I had this idea of how we were going to make it or who was going to make us. Do not underestimate the person who worked for their money, who gives you their last $20 to support you. That's why we're here. It is from the people who want to see our farm move forward. It wasn't business colleagues. It wasn't press or media. It was the average person who just went on our store and bought one jar of honey to support us.
Yeah, community, the power of community.
And the people who have always been watching us give back long before it was popular to give back.
Yeah. It might be confusing for people who don't know you really well. So your farm is in Saskatchewan.
Correct.
But you live in Medicine Hat, Alberta, correct?
I live in Medicine Hat, Alberta, and we travel back and forth. And my husband was in the oil patch, lost his job, and now we reside in Medicine Hat, but we travel back to the farm. Bees are seasonal, so we work with the crops and farming.
Yeah. So I just wanted to clarify because we're talking about some provincial funding, right? And how it totally is different, right? If you were in Alberta, you may have had different things available than if you're in Saskatchewan or Ontario or Manitoba.
That's the thing. So because our farms in Saskatchewan, all the provincial funding has to come from Saskatchewan, but yet we live and do business, Sweet Pure Honey. My small business is registered in Alberta, but I can't access any of the funding because the farm's in Saskatchewan. So to this date, we have not received $1 from funding for COVID or agriculture or disaster relief. Not $1 because of this living in two provinces and rules and regulations.
Yeah. So it's important to know all of the regulations of exactly where you're living, I guess, is a good piece of advice for.
You find it out right away when you click on the application and they tell you who is not eligible.
Yeah.
So if I could say anything to anyone before you fill out an application, just go to who's not eligible. They'll tell you right there.
That's a good point. If you don't mind my asking, do you think that when you started your business or as you've been growing and going along, do you think you faced any unique obstacles? I realize you're in partnership with your husband, but for you yourself as a woman in business, as a BIPOC woman in business, do you think that you faced any unique obstacles? And if so, how did you deal?
Well, this is the thing about myself that I've come to realize. I am naturally optimistic. So honestly, it takes me being treated badly repeatedly for me to realize, like, what is going on here? Something's not right. Like, why is this not moving forward? Or why is this not progressing? Most definitely. I mean, even on your own panel, we were talking and the other women of color said they've never experienced racism in business. And I was the only one who was taken back by that. I'm shocked that as a woman of color in Canada, you've never experienced racism. And then I questioned, well, maybe it's because they are in a cultural community and they're surrounded by people who look like them. So I was raised by a white mother and I'm married to a white man. So maybe it is something unique to my circumstance being biracial. But most definitely, it's been harder for me. I've gone to events, different circumstances where people are inappropriate. And the thing is, every time you face, I'm going to liken it to this. When I go out to an event, when I leave my house, I put on a full body armor. And I carry this armor so that if somebody shoots a dagger, if I encounter a bullet, I can take it. I had no idea how carrying this armor every time I go out, every event, every meeting, I didn't realize how exhausting, and all of those bullets, all of those daggers eventually penetrate the armor you have. And I was forced to listen to my body when everything was going on over the last few years, most significantly with the Trump administration. I really noticed a shift in just political statements and values, and just in social media and with friends and family and colleagues. And I really had to just turn everything off and support my own body, my own mind, my family, and focus and take care of my body. And how I mentioned earlier, peace, I realized this is no longer my fight. I am halfway through my life, and the second half of my life will involve peace. I'm still committed, and I will work with other ambitious, driven allies, but the second half of my life is going to involve peace, because my body started showing signs. Blood pressure, anxiety, just overall unease. I just had to listen to my body, and it required shifting and changing and just focusing on my family. This whole thing started with my family. And where you live, who you're around, that is your reality. And I am happy to report, from the shifts and the changes I've made, we all are thriving, focusing on well-being and still being present and cognizant of what's going on. But I just can no longer have the outside world penetrating my brain. I have to focus on what matters. And I know that I'm blessed and grateful for the business and the clients. And yes, as you mentioned, I worked hard to get here, but ultimately it is the consumer's choice to support me. They give me their money, and I am going to continue honoring that by providing great products, moving forward, and doing what I can to help someone else. But I do feel I am privileged. When you have money coming in, stability, economic stability provides a peace that allows you to think about other things, that allows you to focus on helping other people. When you're in survival mode, those things don't exist because you're surviving. So I'm past that hurdle, and now I just want to honor other people who are also struggling, to help them move forward. And if listening to me talk, if me telling them I understand where they are, I know it seems hopeless, but just to keep reaching out, keep talking, tell people what you need. There's this shame associated with being honest with what you need. A perfect example, I have never paid someone to write a biography. You said to me, do you have one? I don't. You said, okay, well, let me help you. I'll do that. So just be honest with people what you need. They will help you if they can.
Well, you deserve peace and you deserve success. Absolutely. And I really hope you didn't have to wear your armor here today. And
no, not at all.
I look forward to the day, if it ever comes, when people don't have to wear their armor out in public.
I can say I am experiencing that now. I have a local group here in town, the Medicine Hat Allies. They reached out to me. And now I have hundreds of people in Medicine Hat that have joined this group. Just looking at that number, this is the thing. Never underestimate that you're the only one who had this thought. Start reaching out to people who think like you and have similar thoughts. Together, this ripple effect can create a wave. You are not alone. Access the help available to you where you are. It's there. It is there. And hopefully you will find someone who will help you actually get the help. And like I said, with your organization, from the moment, even when I was filling out applications, there were people who reached out on your team. to help me with the application. So don't give up. There are people, but it means you do have to put yourself out there, and it might be uncomfortable and there might be some tears shed, but in the end, it will be worth something. It really will. Somebody will hear what you're saying and they will pass that along to the next person they talk to. And this whole circle, I call it a full circle effect. It does keep going around. And sometimes it does take a year. So don't underestimate those connections that you made. If you meet people where they are, if you're honest and genuine and authentic, that will carry through. You will become part of their conversation. They will recommend you, and follow up with them. Keep in contact with them. Let them know where you are today. Keep connecting. Just keep connecting.
That's such great advice, because it can get frustrating when it's hard to find the community. You're never alone. There's always people out there who support you or think like you, but sometimes it's hard to find them. So it's, that is great advice. just keep going. Because my next question for you was going to be, do you have advice for any woman or any BIPOC folks who are looking at getting into agri-food and rural areas? But I think you just gave great advice. Is there anything else?
So the first thing is make friends with all the smarty pants in your city or community, because they just have knowledge you don't, and they have the ability to fill out all the applications and forms that you don't have time to because you're working to survive. So that's a problem. Just so you know, I've never qualified or gotten the money. And this idea that you're working to survive, yet you're applying for money, yet they expect you to do a full-time job to apply for the money is absolutely ridiculous. So for ourselves, the TRC, the calls to action, the women and folks that we are helping with our money, tell me what you need and how can I help? And you're not jumping through hoops to get this money. It's not feasible that somebody who's already working full-time is going to then have full-time hours to devote to maybe get money. And it's so disheartening. It's so disheartening when you pour your money into an application and you don't even get it. So I would say make friends with the people. And there are businesses who do this for a fee. So this is how I know I'm not out there and saying this. There are businesses and marketing companies who offer this for a fee to fill out all this application. And I have to note, this also includes awards. To receive an award, you have to fill out why you deserve this award, which is absolutely ridiculous. Why am I telling you why I should get this award? You should be contacting everyone else, asking them, not asking me to do the labor of telling you why I deserve this award. Anyways, that's another story, but reach out to the women that you know that have marketing firms, that smarty pants is what I call them. They may help you. They may help you fill out applications. They may know somebody. Everyone's looking to give back. So just make friends and ask them for help, and they might just help you.
Yeah, you're not off in left field at all. In fact, we have an intro to business ownership series. And as part of that, we have a workshop on proposal writing, because it's not a skill people have. And if you're going after grants and loans, and
it's not a skill people have unless they went to university and wrote thesis.
Yes. And even then it depends on your major.
Still hire people that specialize in certain government funding.
Yeah. So, and it's true. And we have workshops on marketing and doing your own marketing, but you need to have the time to do it. So that's absolutely a challenge for people starting up business and doing side hustles.
One more thing I have to say about WeStem. Other panels that I've been on, including people who have canceled after I booked time off of work, I have to say this about your organization. I received a monetary payment for being part of the panel, and how I felt when I opened that envelope and I was paid for my time and my knowledge, because I have knowledge. Thank you.
I wish we could have given more, but
Thank
we're so thankful for everyone.
To be on your panels. Pay people who book time off work for your meetings. Pay them anything. Their time is worth money. So pay them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But I want to ask you, what are your plans? What's next? What's next for Stella Sehn? Next
for me,
months or year?
I know I sound angry. I'm actually pretty happy right now, and I'm hopeful. It's so nice to be inspired by new entrepreneurs and to have hope for the future. For a long time, I was in just survival mode and getting through the day. And I can honestly say that when I'm waking up in the morning, I'm actually looking forward to what the day will bring. So just living, just existing and trying to enjoy this life that I created. All our children are moving forward. We have a daughter going away to school. Our son's graduating from college. So all our little honey babies are moving forward. Honestly, I feel joy now preparing meals for my family. I've started swimming at night. Don't underestimate the power of moving your own body and breathing, whatever that looks like. In your living room, I know it's freezing cold right now, and definitely financially for some people, memberships aren't an option, but breath work, breathing, drinking water, moving your body, just honor yourself any way you can. Take care of your body. Show yourself that you're important. And that's what I'm doing. I just finally get to focus on me and being healthy and trying to be happy.
It's time. It's time to be happy. And I hear you. I literally walk up and down my stairs and pace around my living room to get my steps in. And I use YouTube for yoga. And you don't have to leave my house.
I don't think you can underestimate just moving your body, breathing, drinking water. Just take care of your body.
You have great words of wisdom to live by. And I really want to thank you for, I know we didn't use the word social entrepreneur. I used it in the introduction, and we didn't really talk about it as a topic, but it's what you've been talking about throughout. And you haven't separated the person from the business, and I really appreciate that. And thank you for focusing on that and how you can worry about money and success and still worry about your community and talk about the truth and reconciliation calls to action and how everything's intertwined, right? Everything is connected.
And what else do we have to do but do good right now? Look at it like that. What else do you have to do but make this year 2022? What did you do to move forward with the calls to action? For every Canadian citizen, whether you're in business or not, just go to the website, just Google it, read it. You're going to see an opportunity. And just to give you some real concrete examples, you're standing in line at the drugstore. Someone's behind you that you can see counting out their money. Pay for their prescription. Pay for their razors. And I'm using this as an example because it happened to me. And I use that opportunity to help someone directly. There is going to be an opportunity where you're going to see it and you're going to feel uncomfortable because you don't know how or how you should. They'll tell you if they don't want your help. Be uncomfortable. Offer to help. Yeah. Say, I see you. I want to help you. Offer.
I think that's great. I think that's great advice, great words to live by, and a great place for us to end. We can't get more positive than that.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you so much, Stella.
Till we meet again.
We want to hear from you. Is there a question that you'd like us to answer on our next podcast? Send it in to westem@chooselethbridge.ca. WEcast is a production of the Women Entrepreneurs in STEM program. WeSTEM is made possible thanks in part to funding from the Government of Canada's Women Entrepreneurship Strategy. For more information, visit our website at westem.ca or contact westem@chooselethbridge.ca. Thanks for listening.